Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking.
All right. Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Monday, August 25th. It is 6:27 right now. We got market opening up in about 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and mark up liquidity real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. Just going to zoom through this real quick. 30 minute. We got this huge spike right here that happened not too long ago. Pretty typical for a Monday. All right. All right, guys, so I marked up liquidity over here. Good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, August 25th. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. 6:28 right now. We have market opening up in about 2 minutes. I've marked up liquidity. As you guys can see here, we had we had a bit of a back and forth movement here pre-market and prices kind of going back and forth. Looking over here at the overall direction, we're probably going to look for buys today. Market structure right now is looking pretty bullish with the 1 minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour. The middle time frames here are pretty neutral, but if you look at the trend over here, price is starting to shift up. So the 1 minute is bullish over here, right? Price is above the pivots, trend meter is green, pivots are angling to the upside. The 5 minute here is bearish, but it's shifting to the upside. The 15 minute here is bearish and it's shifting to the upside. The 30 minutes bullish, 1 minute, 1 hour is bullish, and the 4 hour here is bullish. So pretty much all of the time frames here from the 1 minute up to the higher time frames are bullish, while the 5 minute and 15 minute are catching up. So with that being said, direction for today is probably going to be bullish. It's not for sure, but we'll see what happens here in a few. This is my daily outlook for the day. Overall market bias is neutral to mildly bearish. Alignment score is 5 out of 10, so it's pretty mixed. I mean, it could be bearish, but for the most part, it's pretty mixed overall. So it can really go in either direction. But looking at the current market structure and price over here, it's looking like it's gonna probably be bullish. But I mean, we'll see what happens in a few. Market's opening up in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the momentum breakouts for a buy today. If you guys are looking to take that, we have a buy signal right here. Obviously, today's Monday, so I'd look for price to come down a little bit and then spike back up. That's basically what's happening here, right? Price spike down, and then now I'd look for it to maybe correct back to the upside. So we'll see what happens here. But we got that there identified, and we will be looking for opportunities here as price continues to move along. So we'll come back and take a look at this in a few. This is the momentum breakout for the day. Just remember, guys, Monday and Fridays are the riskier days to trade because people are re-entering the market from the weekend. So Monday, people are re-entering the market. On Friday, people are exiting the market for the weekend. That's why on Mondays and Fridays, I typically wait for the market here to stabilize before I start looking for entries. But I will be looking for the possible orb entry here as price continues to move along. So we got the orb low right here, possibly at the 45,583. And the high over here at 45,612. I'll mainly be looking for possible buys here. Like I said, market structure here is identifying possible buys here. It's not super one-sided, so we can really trade in either direction. But we'll kind of wait and see what happens here as price continues to move along. So we got the upper orb right here at 45,612. We have the lower orb right here at 45,575. There's no confirmation yet of breaking close or clear direction right now. It's actually pretty mixed now. If I go over here to the overall trend, we still don't have the confirmation here on the 5 and 15 minute. However, the higher time frames are still bullish. So ideally, I would like to look for a buy here. If that's the case, we got this here pushing up a little further. So I'm going to go and clean that up. The orb high is getting pushed right through right there. Huge push to the upside. Like I said earlier, this is falling in line with my analysis pre-market. I mentioned that the price is probably get manipulated down and then push right up. So looks like the breakout over here is on its way to full TP, almost there. Looking over here at the orb high is going to be at 45,644. So I'm going to put that in my ticket window. 45,644, just in case we do get that orb high right there. We got price pushing past it. So what I'm going to look for here is I'm looking for price to make a nice break and close past it. And then once it breaks and closes past it, I'll be looking to enter here for my orb high. I'm going to be looking at the price action here again. Like I mentioned before, I don't like when price just breaks past it, but it doesn't actually close. So when you get a test like this doesn't look good to me, right? I don't really like this here. Um, there's no high-low break and retest here, or there's no break and retest off the orb high, so there's no entry there yet. What I'd be looking for here is for price to break and close for a clean break, retest, and continue up higher. There was a break here, but no actual close, so the orb here has not filled. We'll keep watching here as price continues to move along, but there's still no orb there. So I'm going to keep watching the price action here as price comes up and retests this area at 45,644. I need it to be a clean break and retest. So meaning I need price to break past it, close, come down, retest, and push back up higher. If price keeps testing this area here and doesn't actually close, so test, 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 then in a situation like that, I'm probably not going to take the entry, right? Like this right here, I don't like how it's testing right here, but it's not actually closing past it. It's breaking, but then it comes right back down right after. That's not a good sign. You don't want to see dirty price action like that. You want it to be pretty clean, right? So right here, again, no close. So if this is the case, I might sit out on this orb here because of this specific reason, of course. Hey, Lila, morning. Morning, Maria. Morning, Daniel. Morning, everybody. All right, guys. So no orb entry there yet. Again, price is testing the orb high right here at 45,644. No actual close past it. It broke past it, broke, but no actual close. So break, retest, retest, no actual close. Again, like I said, I don't like when this happens here because this is not a clean break and retest, right? I want a clean break, clean retest, continuation. This thing's tested twice already. At this point, I don't know if I'll be taking the orb for today. I'll mark up the orb if it comes up, but I'm probably not going to be taking it myself. The momentum breakout over here, full TP for 50 points, guys. If you guys took that, I call this here pre-market. The reason why this was taken was because there was a buy signal right here for bullish momentum, and the market opened right here at 6:30, and it shot right through. So first trade for the day, momentum breakout, full TP. Orb breakout over here, still no entry, has not provided an opportunity for entry. It's been breaking, but not actually closing. And looking at this over here, we don't have any other opportunities at the moment. I'm going to clean this up a little bit because price pretty much grabbed liquidity up here. So a ton of liquidity grabs right there. Just clean that up quite a bit. Move this up a little higher. All right, so no orb high yet, guys. I mean, price here may come down and it may provide an opportunity for an orb sell. So the sells are still not out of the picture, right? There could still be an orb sell here if you guys are looking to take it. Orb sells gonna be at 45,575. For me personally, I'm not looking for an orb sell here because my biases are still pointing towards the upside. So if you guys want to take the sell here, I mean, feel free to take it. I will mark it up for you, but I'm mainly looking for a buy here. Probably not going to be looking for the orb now that we kind of have this back and forth movement here. Orb has not set up yet. It's still currently pending. If anything, I'll look for a continuation to the upside a little later. So I'll look for price to break past this higher high right here, provide opportunity for a break and retest from that level and continuation up higher. But again, the orb here is still not filled. Orb highs at 45,644, orb lows at 45,575. In a market like this is where it's good to just sit back and just wait for the market to come to you, right? Right now, if you're going to be forcing any trades here, you're really going to be sticking to risky entries because right now there's not an overall bias, right? The overall trend over here is still pretty mixed. The 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, they're all bullish on the higher time frames, while the lower time frames here, 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute are mixed. The 1 minute here is bullish, 5 minute here is bearish neutral, and the 15 minute here is bearish. So just keep that in mind, guys. It's not the best time to be taking unnecessary risk right now. I'd wait for the market here to stabilize, provide some sort of confirmation of direction, and then I'd start looking for some entries. But if you guys want to take entries here, I'll mark them up as they come. There just hasn't been anything here yet so far. So new low right there, mark that up. You can see our price is just pretty much consolidating around this middle area. This is the opening price right here. So there goes New York Open. Other than that, there's nothing else here. So you guys can see the sessions are pretty far up. So we have the Asia low, which is up here. Price tested that. We have the Asia high up here, London high and New York high. So we have a pretty big range. The New York low's down here, London low's down here. Pretty mixed. And price is pretty much just sitting down the middle of the previous session high lows. Nice. Jonathan caught the breakout for full TP. Nice work, Jonathan. You've been on fire with that trade there. Jonathan's been taking those pretty much every day since last week. So Jonathan over here locked in 244 from the breakout, 85.44, 685. These are all Jonathan's profits. You can see they're all the same type of screenshot. He's been killing it last week, a bunch of breakouts for him. So nice work on that, Jonathan. And here's the one from today. Jonathan locked in 488 from the momentum breakout right here. Nice work, Jonathan. All right, cool. So we got price pushing back up, guys. If price pushes up to this area again, this is going to be the orb for a buy. Again, you're going to look for price breaking close past this orb high at 45,644, retest it, and continue up higher. If it finally does break across that area. Right now, again, price is still kind of sitting down the middle. No confirmation of a breaking close yet past the orb high or orb low. But ideally, I would be looking for a buy here if I was to be taking any entries at this point. Price action is not so great today. It was kind of what we expected. Looking over here at the news for today, we had new home sales at 7 o'clock. We had a medium impact news at 5:30, which is Chicago Fed National Activity Index. It was positive. So we had news over here pre-market at 5:30. And then we have new home sales right here at 7 o'clock. Still no entries here right now. Yeah, it's a pretty choppy Monday. Not really too much here to work with. Price is still going back and forth as we speak. Hey, Jonathan. Jonathan's asking, do you guys think price will come down maybe to fill the imbalance from Friday? Let's see. I mean, possibly, right? This big, huge spike to the upside right here. I mean, it's a possibility, but the other possibility is that price consolidates around this area, ranges, and then breaks out for continuation to the upside. So, I mean, there's a possibility for both ways, right? There's two ways of looking at it. You can either look at it as how you're looking at it, Jonathan, for price to come back down and fill this gap, or if you're looking for continuation here, possibility of it pushing back up higher. The thing is, with my overall bias for today, it's pretty mixed. My alignment score is 5 out of 10. So like ideally, my overall bias did identify that price may come back and fill that imbalance. However, it's not like a strong bias, right? The news is a little bit mixed because of what happened on Friday with Powell, who was very dovish about the interest rates and how he mentioned that interest rates may be cut in September. So with that being the case, it might be fire to the fuel and price may continue pushing up higher as we get into the next month. So, I mean, there's a possibility of it coming down, but there's also a possibility of it not. There's not really like one bias to really focus on. I mean, we'll see what happens this week because we do have some news. So we do have This week is housing market index. So like we have like the new home sales that come out right now at 7 o'clock, and then tomorrow we have durable good orders, and then on Wednesday we have gas stock change, nothing too crazy, and then on Thursday we have jobs data, and then on Friday we have some inflation data over here. So I mean today's supposed or this week in general is supposed to be more of a choppy week. Well, not really a choppy week, but it's going to be a bit of a slower week, not necessarily like the previous weeks. Last week was Fed week, so that's why we had all that volatility. We had a range, but volatility was present. And then next week we have NFP. So this week might be just a back and forth, a lot of ranging as it prepares for NFP next week. As we get closer to the jobs data, like later on in the week, like on Thursday, and then the inflation data on Friday, then we might see some volatility, but it might be a bit slower until we get to that point. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday might be slow days for us. So it just kind of depends on how the data comes out. All right, we have a possible orb high over here, guys, breaking. So we have price breaking and closing past, or not closing yet, but it's breaking past this orb high at 45,644. If this breaks and closes past this level, you can look for the possible retest of this and continuation up higher for the orb breakout for a buy. Again, right here, you need it to actually close past it, guys. Right here, it's testing it, but it hasn't actually closed yet. So if it doesn't close, there's no confirmation there and there's no entry for the orb high. I'm going to hold off on this because I don't like the price action. The trade is now currently pending, guys. If you guys want to enter this right here, your pending order would be at 45,644. 45,644 is where your limit order would be sitting here for a buy. Price broke past it and closed. It has not retested, so it has not filled yet. Here's two things to look at. If price pushes past this area here, where the target's at 45,684, then you have to cancel your order. Right. The trade is currently pending right now, has not filled. So once it comes down, it'll fill your order. It's now filled at this moment. And we'll see if it pushes back up higher. For me personally, I'm sitting out of this position because like I mentioned earlier, guys, I don't like when it retests like this. So right here, it tested a couple of times, didn't actually close. And then it pulled right back into this range. So I'm deciding with this here is that this isn't a clean entry for me. So I'm not taking this. I'll be looking for possible high-low break and retest, but not for the orb high here. Because what I'm worried about is that price is going to fake out from here and pull back into this middle range. And if that happens, it's going to stop you out, right? So if you guys want to take this here as an orb high, feel free to take it at your own risk. I'm not in this position, but I will follow it for you guys there. So I'm not in this position here, guys. Just a reminder, not in the orb high. I'll be looking for another entry here for price to break and close past the high, retest, and continue up higher from there. So I'll look for the continuation move, but I'm not going to take the actual orb. It's just not a clean entry for me. The buys here do look good though. My overall market structure is looking pretty bullish now. 1 minute, 5 minutes bullish, 15, 30 is neutral, 1 hour, 4 hours bullish. So long term, it does look like price will push up, but this right here just might bounce back and forth for a bit before it actually pushes through. The volatility is actually really low right now too. ATR is currently at 18. Typically, we want it at least above 20. Let's take a look at the overall trend. Overall trend over here is starting to shift bullish as well. So the higher time frames here, of course, are still bullish. 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, all bullish here. Price above the pivots, trend meter green, pivots to angling to the upside. Over here on the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 15 minute, price is attempting to confirm bullish, but it has not fully confirmed yet. The 1 minute is bullish, price is above the pivots, trend meter is green, pivots are angling to the upside. The 5 minute over here, price is above the pivots, the trend meter just turned green, and the pivots are starting to angle to the upside. The 15-minute price is above the pivots, the trend meter is red, and the pivots are starting to turn to the upside as well. So with that being said, we do have a bullish bias here. The orb is currently running in profit. I'm not in this position. I'm waiting for the confirmation here, maybe for a high-low break and retest. So I'll be looking for price to break and close past this lower high right here, retest, and continue up higher. Right, that's a possibility for me, but I'm not in any positions here right now at the moment. So nothing for me here. We are following the orb. Orb is kind of going back and forth, like I said, not necessarily a good entry point because, like I said earlier, a lot of back and forth. So I'm glad that we skipped this trade here because look what happened. It did exactly what I was worried about, right? Price faked out, pull back into the range. I've seen this happen too many times, guys. So I know when to skip the entries, of course. This all comes with chart time, practice, experience, etc. Whenever I see stuff like this and it's not a clean break, I already know this is probably going to happen, right? It's basically a double top at this point. Price basically double topped right here. and pull back into the range. So dodged a bullet there. It was a good decision to sit out of that. And now we're going to keep looking for next opportunity here. We're just in this huge range, guys. As you guys can see, price just going back and forth, back and forth. Let me mark up some market structure here so we can kind of identify what to be concerned with. So let me just go over here real quick. So let's see. Where's this higher low at? So I got some support down here. Extend this out a little higher. So I got a support zone right there. This was a previous resistance turn support. And I got a couple other areas right here too. Resistance, resistance. I'm looking at my other screen over here, my screen on the higher time frame where I can see this. It just kind of aligns with my 1 minute here. So we got a bunch of resistance up here, guys. I just marked up market structure here, as you guys can see. Price here is just in a huge range at the moment. So we had this consolidation down here pre-market between basically 5 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Price went back and forth within this area, faked out below here, pulled back into this range. And now we're in this big range up here. So you guys can see this big range was here from London session up until now. Price basically fell down right here, and then it created an imbalance where price came back and filled it. Looking at this here now, we have price pretty much pushing up, and it pretty much retested this area over here for a double top. And now it's back into this lower range. So today, like I said, guys, is a good day to sit on the sidelines. It's a good day to just sit back, wait for the market to stabilize. And once it stabilizes, look for entry here. Earlier, the overall market structure is starting to look bullish. Price dropped down super heavily now, and it's back to neutral. All right, looking back at the 1 minute here, it's now neutral. It's no longer bullish. Price is below the pivots. Trend meter is blue, and the pivots are angling to the downside. Same with the 5 minute over here. Price is below the pivots. Trend meter is red. Pivots are angling to the downside. Lastly, looking over here on the 15, price is still bearish. It never changed. So price is now back below the pivots. Trend meter is red. Pivots are angling to the downside. So with that said, lower time frames here are currently bearish, while the higher time frames here are still bullish. So, we've talked about this time and time again, guys. The real skill of trading is not necessarily looking for winning entries. The real skill is being able to manage your risk properly and avoid bad entries, right? Because if you can avoid bad entries and continue to stay consistent with your good entries, you should have a consistency of being profitable, right? Right now, this is a good time where for a lot of people to get spiked out, right? It doesn't matter which direction you're trading. If you're following this for a buy, it's easy to get stopped out because price comes right back down. Vice versa, if you're chasing this for a sell, it's easy to get stopped out because price will just correct right back up. So it doesn't really matter which direction you guys are trading. There's not much of an overall bias. Right now is a good time to kind of just sit back and wait. Once you have confirmation, you can start looking for entries here. There's a possible sweep that happened right here. So there's actually two sweeps that happened, guys. There's a sweep that happened right here off this higher high. You can see how price came up and it rejected directly off this structure, this higher high right here. So this is a sweep to the downside. And then there's also a sweep right here to the upside. You can see how price came down and rejected directly off this higher low right here, right? Higher low, rejection. And this is a sweep to the upside. So we're still in a choppy market, kind of similar to last week. So right now, obviously you guys can see here, the sweeps are probably going to be your best option for entries if you guys want to force trades during this time period. I would take it at the extreme. So I'd only take sweeps down very far below and sweeps very high above. Right? I wouldn't take sweeps down the middle. I would take sweeps at the extremes of price movement. So there we go. As price pushes back up, price pushes back up higher. The price may push back to this area, sweep again, come right back down. There's just not much here to work with at the moment. Hey, what's up, Chase? Morning. I just saw your message right there. Nice. Solid. So Chase is currently on his Lightning account, currently at 51,604. Sweet. So you're almost there. You're basically halfway there at that point. Hopefully we get some good entries here as price continues to move along so you can, move it along the way. But right now it's a choppy market, guys. Right now it's not a good time to take unnecessary risk. It's Monday, so just keep that in mind, guys. You have a whole week ahead of you. So there's no need to force anything right now. It's really just a good time to just sit back and wait, let the market here kind of do what it needs to do. And then once it starts to move directional, we can start looking for entries. Otherwise, if you guys want to trade in this sideways market, you can take sweeps, right? You can take sweeps as they come along. Yeah, G said news is pretty light until the end of the week. I think the market may be slow and choppy until the end of the week. Yeah, I agree. Uh, G said Friday is Fed's favorite report also, so big money may be holding out until the end of the week. I agree. So let's go back to the news events for today, guys. For today, we have new home sales at 7 o'clock. It's high impact, but it's not going to affect it too much because we already have an idea of like where it's going to be. It's probably going to be negative like it was last month. We have durable good orders on Tuesday, which is not really a big news event. It's high impact, but it's not really that big affecting the market. Wednesday, we don't have anything here. It's just gas stocks change. This happens every month, medium impact. Thursday, we have jobs data. This is going to be like probably the start of volatility and higher impact news. And then on Friday, we have inflation data. So yeah, it's probably going to be very choppy and rangy from now until Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, once the big news events come out, it's probably going to move more directional. But you guys can see our price is just ranging between this area down the middle. So I marked up market structure right here. You guys can see prices right down the middle right here. Not really too much going on. It's just going back and forth between this middle point. So in order for me to take some buys, I need price to break out of this area, retest, continuation up higher. Vice versa, if price comes below, I'll be looking for some sells. Right, so I'm really just waiting for price to break out of this range. I'm looking for price to come below here, retest and hold below this point, or I'm looking for price to push above here, retest and hold above this point here. I don't really want to trade down the middle here because it's easy to get stopped out, right? If you trade in the middle here, if you're going for the bigger targets, which I recommend you don't, it's easy to get stopped out because you can see prices going back and forth. So if you guys are looking to trade within the middle here, you can take sweeps, but take them for very tight targets. Just get in and out quickly. I would just base it off the ATR. ATR is 19, so go for 20-point moves, quick in and outs. Otherwise, you're going to get caught in the chop up. I mean, everything here is going to get chopped up, obviously, down the middle. So again, price here pushed up off the sweep. Now it's coming right back down. I wouldn't be surprised if price maybe comes down to this point, sweeps again, or if it comes back down to this point down here and sweeps again. Ideally, I'd probably expect it to come down to this next level because down here is going to be the extreme, right? Price has already tested this area, so the next extreme is going to be down here at this structure. So we got a support level right here. We also have liquidity at this lower low. All right, so nothing here right now. Again, price is still consolidating sideways, guys. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. Looking at my overall bias for today, right now we're currently sitting at a neutral market structure. So the 1 minute here is neutral, 5 minutes neutral, 15 minutes neutral, 30 minutes neutral, 1 hour is bullish, and the 4 hours bullish. Now looking over here at my overall trend, right now currently on the 1 minute, it's currently neutral. Prices in between the pivots, the trend meter is blue, pivots are going sideways. 5 minute over here is bearish. Prices below the pivots. Trend meter is red. Pivots are angling to the downside. Looking over here on the 15, price is bearish. Prices below the pivots. Trend meter is red. Pivots are angling to the side. So it's more of a bearish neutral trend right now because there's no confirmation. If you look over here on the 15, let me maximize this real quick. The 15 minute has actually been very slow and consolidating, right? Right here, it hasn't really done very much. It's been coming down, but it's like these extremely small candles. Right now, the volatility is starting to pick back up, but it's not really going anywhere. Price is going sideways. So on the higher end of the lower time frames, it's not really one-sided right now. It's trying to be bearish, but it hasn't actually closed below the pivots. We'll see what happens in the next 3 minutes once this candle closes, if it closes below or above. because that's going to be a determining factor of the lower time frames, right? If price ends up closing below here, then we might have a bearish bias for the next hour. If price closes above it, we might have a bullish bias because these over here will likely follow. However, the higher time frames are still bullish, right? So if you look over here on the 30 minute, 30 minute is currently bullish. Prices above the pivots, the trend meter is green. Pivots are angling to the upside. Same with the 1 hour over here. Prices above the pivots, trend meter is green. The pivots are angling to the upside. And lastly, over here on the 4 hour, same exact thing, right? Price above the pivots, trend meter green. Pivots angling to the upside. So with that being the case, the higher time frames are very bullish. So this may mean that price may continue to be bullish later on in the day. Right now, it's currently mixed, but right now, on the higher time frames, if price does correct back up, it'll likely continue to push up higher. So with that being said, it's a mixed bias with regard to the trend, mixed bias with regard to market structure, and my daily outlook for today is pretty much neutral. It was a 5 out of 10 alignment score, neutral to mildly bearish. That's kind of where price is right now. The fundamentals were leaning cautious due to the slight futures weakness, tariff headlines, light data calendar, while the technical showed a range-bound consolidation with a bearish tilt intraday, but the daily trend was still intact, meaning that price was still moving in that direction. So we'll have to just wait for price to break out of this area, right? Right now, I'm still not looking for anything because price is in between this range. I need price to break below here and stay below here. If price can break below this point and hold, then I'll look for some sells. But right now, price is in between this area, so I'm not really looking for anything at the moment. If you guys are just joining in, there was only like one entry that really came up today, which was the momentum breakout that hit full TP right here for 50 points. So if you guys caught that, I know Jonathan caught that. I'm not sure if anybody else did, but this was the main entry for today, which came up. The reason why we took this trade was because my bullish momentum here indicated that momentum was going to push to the upside. Market opened right here at 6:30, so price pushed up, retraced, entry happened right there, and it shot up to its full TP for 50 points. Other than that, there was nothing else here to take. The orb over here was not a good entry. We saw that price here was testing the orb high, but didn't actually break and close past it. So when price finally broke past it right here, it's more of a double top, and price pulled back into the middle range here, which is what I identified and what I predicted was going to happen, and why I avoided this trade altogether. Looking back over here at our normal chart, still nothing going on. I'll go ahead and mark up this high. And I'll go ahead and mark up this low. So what I'm seeing here now is that price is starting to squeeze. Right, we had this big range here, and price is now starting to squeeze tighter and tighter. Reason why I see that is because this lower high got a bit closer, and this higher low right here got a bit closer. So as price starts to squeeze like this, what happens after a squeeze is a breakout, right? Which is good. We want a breakout to happen. We want price to squeeze tighter and tighter and tighter, and then eventually it breaks out to the upside or it breaks out to the downside. Once we have that breakout, we can see if there's a continuation of price holds. If it doesn't hold, then possibly a return back to the middle range. Yeah, G said, I think the only thing that can really move the market between now and Friday, is if Trump has an unplanned announcement. I know, exactly. There has to be some sort of breaking news here to push price out of this area right now. Otherwise, it's probably going to sit within this range for a while, maybe for the rest of the day, maybe until tomorrow. Because tomorrow there's not really much news happening. Here's the new home sales right here. It's pretty anticlimactic. We'll see if it actually pushes through, but. There's not really too much of a movement here, so it only pushed up about 20 points. It looks like it pushed up pretty high, but not really. It's 20 points. It's nothing. So there goes new home sales. It was positive data. So that aligned with the bullish push here. Price reacted to the positive news there and it pushed up, but it's not really holding. Had the initial push up, now it's just flattened out and it's kind of sitting where it was earlier. Yeah, there's not too much here. Let's see. Shiv said, I do like a bullish push for a higher high breakout, clear the Asia high, then perhaps drop to fill the fair value cap. Yeah, ideally, I'd like that too. I'd like price to push up, but right now it's just not looking like it, huh? Price is just sitting lower and lower. If that's the case, I mean, the sells here might be looking more enticing. So we got price closing below here. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. Price is now below this lower low. I'll wait to see here. G said, Sean, you should check out the VWAP here. I already have the VWAP on here. So yeah, the VWAP is currently I mean, it's pretty far below. So if it does correct back up, I mean, the VWAP is way up here. So it'll probably pull back. Yeah, I do. I have the second and third deviations here already. Step ahead of you, G. I look at the same thing. So price over here is already going to the first deviation, second deviation be down here. It might come down to this point, bounce off here, and pull back to the VWAP. I like the VWAP to some extent. Sometimes it doesn't pull back, right? Like for example, over here, kind of just trails down below. It did pull back over here, so it came to this first deviation and pulled right back up. For me personally, I don't really trade mean reversion, but yeah, I mean, this is a good tool to look at right here. So like what G was mentioning is, look for price to reach the standard deviation here and possibly correct back up. The thing for me though, what I'm looking for is I'm probably going to be looking for this here to maybe hold below here though, right? Gets to that standard deviation, kind of just holds below there. The thing is we're not really in a trending market, so it's clean this up. We're not in a trending market, so it might not even hold. Or we might break into a trading market. I mean, who knows? This might be a matter of time until it does. Yeah, G said it just tested the VWAP. That's definitely a sign that it may get choppy. Yeah. Yeah, for me personally, I like when it's away from the VWAP, right? I don't really like when it's at the VWAP because it goes into choppiness. When it gets to like the standard deviations, that's where I like because you can start to see sweeps happen from there. So there may be a sweep right here, guys. Price is kind of lining with the standard deviations below. So you may see a possible sweep. If not, then price may continue dropping. So it looks like the sweep here did not hold. I'm gonna clean this up again. All right, we got price below here now. Back to the orb. All right, so price is now below the orb. Let's see if it actually holds below this point here. Market structure is starting to shift a little bit. So the market structure over here, the 1 minute's neutral, 5 minutes bearish, 5, 15, 30 minutes neutral, 1 hour, 4 hours still bullish. So looking at the trend over here, it's starting to confirm down below. So I mentioned this earlier on the 15, guys. I said if this closes below here, which it finally did, the 15-minute close below the pivots, I said price may remain bearish, right? And that might be the case here. So from now until 8 o'clock, we might have a bearish bias. We'll have to see. I mean, there's no confirmation here, but we'll have to see as price continues to move along, of course. So we got price below this lower low. Clean up this right here. Oops. All right, so we got price finally broken out of the range. It's currently sitting below here. Now what I'm looking for is I'm waiting for it to hold below this point, right? I need it to actually sit down here and hold below this point. There's a break and retest right there. Price broke below this lower low structure, retested on this following candle, and we'll see if it actually pushes below further. So what I'm looking for here is really looking for confirmation for price to stay below this point. So I need price to hold here, right? There's one of two things that are going to happen here. Price is either going to stay below this point. Let me just scroll down a little bit. Price is either going to stay below here, maybe consolidate and drop down lower, or price is going to fake out right here and pull right back up and correct back up into this upper range, right? Two different scenarios here, two main scenarios really. Look for either a fake out or look for a continuation and hold. Two retests right there. So price here may just consolidate right here for a little bit. It might consolidate lower in the sellers and then spike back up to stop them out, or vice versa. Price may sit down here, consolidate, maybe break down below. I mean, either way, there's not really much going on here. Price is still sitting around this area. You need to see how price reacts to this lower low. So this blue line right here, see how price reacts to it. It's either going to break below and stay below this point, or it's going to push back above and stop out the sellers. Right? Wait for the market reaction. Don't enter right away. especially when it's in a new area. Let's see. G said, didn't know you use a VWAP, but it's nice to see you on top of everything. Yeah, no, the VWAP's it's a good tool. It's a good tool. It's not always useful, but it is a good tool. So I do keep it on my chart just in case, especially if I'm looking for price to return to a certain area, right? Like for example, here, see how the opening price is up here? If this is the case and price bounces off the standard deviation one right here, it's gonna pull back to the VWAP, right? And if it pulls back to the VWAP, that's gonna be back to open. So, yeah, I've been trading for so long that I'm aware of like all the tools. I've used pretty much every single trading tool you can think of, guys. I've traded for about like well over 12 years now. I've used every single indicator. I've tried to apply every single strategy out there that I know that's well known. Um, and that's the thing with trading, guys. Like with trading, there's so many different strategies and so many different ways to analyze the market. You just have to figure out a way that works for you. For me personally, I like trading momentum with the direction of trend and bias. I also like using market structure as confluence. So, it's a mix of different things here. It's not just one type of strategy. It's more so using certain strategies for confluence and using other strategies for actual entry. So, there's um there's a lot of different things here that you can look at. VWAP is something that's like traditional though. It's like something that, everybody uses from retail traders up until institutions, right? Um, Everybody uses VWAP. It just depends on how you want to use it. Whether you use it for mean reversion, if you use it for trend, if you use it for continuation, there's a lot of different ways to use it. For me personally, I use VWAP as a confluence and I use it to identify mean reversion. So overextension and then correction back up. All right, guys, again, right here, like I said, focus on this lower low right here, right? See how price reacts to this area. Right now, price is consolidating. So with it consolidating right here, this is preparing for a breakout. Sooner or later, price is going to either push back into the range or it's going to break below and continue dropping. You can see over here that there's a lot of ways for people to get trapped, right? Price pushed up right here. I'm sure this would have lured in some buyers to hop right in. But what happened here is they just trapped the buyers and now they're stuck in this trade because price isn't pushing up or down. Same with the sell right here, right? Price came down very strongly. I'm pretty sure people entered sells right here and it trapped them within this consolidation. So this is probably the worst place you could be in right now if you're in this position is being trapped in a trade here, right? Whether it's for a buy or a sell, because there's really no way to confirm which direction price is going to break out, right? It depends on how many traders are here. So once the volume here starts to stack up, depending if there's more buyers or sellers within this area, that's kind of where price is going to go and it's going to stop everyone out, whether you're on the buy side or the sell side. It can actually stop you out in both directions here. So looking at this right now, I mean, price can easily spike up and then come back down, spike down, come back up. So depending on how wide your stop loss is, like 20 points is not going to cut it, right? If you do 20 points, you can get stopped out pretty easily here. So what the ATR is based off right now. That means the average candle is about 20 points. So let's see, I got market structure right here. So I was going to mark this up right here, but it's not really going to be very useful for us. But there is an imbalance right here. Yeah, there's an imbalance right here. So what might happen here is price may come back and retest this imbalance, or price it may mitigate the imbalance and then push back up higher. But this imbalance lines up with my structure, so it's kind of just like a mix. I mean, it's not gonna it wouldn't really matter because the structure here lines up with it. So it's basically there's two structures, but either way, it means it's going to be the same use right there. So price can either come back to the support, retest it, come back lower, or it can break above and shift higher. Same with the imbalance. It's just support, but the imbalance is a little bigger. G's asking, Sean, do you monitor the sectors? So I do monitor the market as a whole. So looking over here at my daily outlook, I monitor everything. So I monitor the fundamentals and the technicals. So I do see everything with regard to YM. Since YM is, the Dow future, it covers pretty much all the major sectors, finance, oil, retail, etc. I do kind of pay attention to it to some extent. And then on top of that, I also trade stocks as well. I trade earnings, so that's what I had to do today. Forgot. So for Tuesday, this is old. Just trying to figure out what did I do with it? You know what? I'm gonna look over. I thought I saved it. I'm gonna just look over here real quick, guys. My earnings for the day. I forgot what I was gonna be taking. Um, earnings. Oh, Nvidia. That's what I was gonna buy. Check that real quick. It's a little high right now. I'm gonna get in at Nvidia at see if it drops anymore. 178. And buy $11,000 in shares for Nvidia at 178. I don't know if it'll fill, but we'll see. Check real quick. Yeah, so I mean, most of you guys know that I trade earnings. So every week I kind of just look for the earnings of the stocks that I'm. Damn, Nvidia is freaking super high though. I don't know if I want to buy Nvidia at this high. I'll just buy 10,000 shares. I mean, either way, it's gonna come up. So, all right, got my order in for Nvidia right there. Yeah, so I trade two things mainly. I trade stocks basically on a weekly basis. I just trade earnings. And then I also trade obviously futures here. So the fact that I look at both is that I kind of have to look at all sectors to an extent because I don't look at every sector particularly, but the Dow covers pretty much everything. So I usually trade stocks within the Dow and the S&P. All right, guys. So looking at current price right now, we are currently below the lower low. Um, so now that price is below here, we want to see if price actually holds below this point. So let's see. I think there was a high-low break and retest right here. Yeah, so there's actually a high-low break and retest that came up right here, guys. Price broke and closed below this lower low. Retested right there. And right now it's still technically running. Not one that I would personally take because my overall market structure over here or market bias is not very bearish yet. So I'm not really having any much of a bias here with regard to entry. And price is still ranging within this area. So it's not really an area that I'd be looking to take entries. So with that being said, let's take a look at the overall trend. Overall trend over here is still pretty mixed. The higher time frames are starting to shift bearish. So the 30-minute over here is now shifting below the pivots. The trend meter is now blue and the pivots are going sideways. The 1 hour over here price is still above the pivots. The trend meter is green. Pivots are still angling to the upside. And same with the 4 hour. So the 1 hour and 4 hour is still bullish. 30-minute is bearish neutral. 1 hour or 1 minute is bearish. 5 minutes bearish. And the 15 minutes bearish. So basically from the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, and 30, the first four time frames here, price is now shifting bearish, while the higher time frames are still bullish. So with that being the case, there's not really much of it's not one-sided, but we do have price starting to shift to the downside. So if that's being the case here, then we might look for some possible sells. But at this very moment, I'm not really convinced that the sells here are going to be very strong. So I'm gonna sit tight. Again, like I said, guys, today's Monday. We have a whole week ahead of us, so there's no need to force anything. I'd rather be flat than I'd rather be flat than be at a loss. You guys got to look at things from that perspective, right? Because I feel like if you're starting to FOMO or you're getting the itch to take a trade right now, for the most part, it's probably not going to be a good trade. Because we did a full analysis of the market right now, and it's not really looking like it's one-sided at all. And if that's the case, then it's a low quality entry. Nice. So Nick over here caught the orb for 50. So nice work on catching that right there. Nick, Chase said he's done for the day, up 404. Nice work, Chase. All so let's see here. If you got 404 for the day, you were at 51,604. So you're at 52,000 now. You're almost on your way to passing that account. So nice work, Chase. Um, yeah, hopefully you get that done by this week. I think it's a good possibility. If you have like maybe two more good trades, you should be able to get that done by the end of the week. Let's see, G said for me, monitoring sector ETFs and knowing what sectors have most weight in YM can help with intraday analysis. Yeah, and I agree with you too, 100%. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. Um, I do follow the sector ETFs as well. So sometimes I do trade those stocks. Like I'll usually trade either the full index or I'll trade the sector, whether it be financials, whether it be retail, whether it be anything really. Or, if I want to go on the bigger scale, I'll trade something like SPY, QQQ, DAA, DIA. They're all very similar in a sense, but they all kind of mirror each other, right, with regard to overall intraday analysis. So, yeah, I agree with you, G, 100%. Yeah, Rashida said she doesn't like this level for entry. She said that about a little while ago. Yeah, it just wasn't a clean entry right here. I mean, there was the setup there, but it just was not a good entry for me to want to take. So the trade here is still or technically this would have hit stop loss and profit, guys. If you were following this trade here, once it hit 30 right here, the stop loss would have been moved in profit to 10. There's not enough volatility to get the full 40. ATR is currently at 18. Price here is kind of sitting flat. I'll clean this up a little bit right here. Marked it up as a lower high. And I will identify this here as well as a lower low. So with that being said, it looks like price is going to be ranging and consolidating around this lower area now, back and forth. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop in the chat. If there's anything specific you guys want me to cover, feel free to hop in the chat. This is a good time to ask questions because I'm not really looking to take anything right now. There's nothing that's really pointing towards me to take an entry. There's not really much of an overall bias. Things here are pretty much mixed at the moment. So for now, I'm pretty much going to be sitting on my hands until something here actually happens. Right? The overall trend over here is not very one-sided. We got the 1 minute, which is bearish, 5 minute, which is bearish, 15 minute, which is bearish, 30 minute, which is neutral, bullish neutral, 1 hour, which is bullish, and the 4 hour, which is bullish. So the higher time frames here are leading and they're bullish. So this means that price may correct back up. Lower time frames here are slightly bearish. So it's a mixed bag right now. It's a mixed bag because it's easy to get stopped out in either direction. This isn't really much of a trending market. Price is kind of just faking out in a lot of directions. We had a lot of consolidation right here. Price pushed up, big old range right here. Price came below, swung to this area, now it faked out and pulled right back up. And then now it's establishing a new range down here. If you guys are just joining in, there's only like one really, I guess, official entry that came up for the day. Not official, but one entry that we identified and played through, which would be the breakout here. So this breakout happened right here on market open. The orb here never really came up until later. Wasn't a good entry once it came up because it came up so late. And there's a lot of testing of that level. And there's no other entries here with regard to, high-low break and retest, which is typically what we look for here. So what I'm looking for here is if I can confirm a bearish direction, which I can't confirm right now, it's a little mixed for me, is I would look for price to break and close past this lower low, retest it, and continue lower from there. So if I was looking for an entry, this is the entry that I'd be looking for. But because I don't have an overall directional bias, looking over here at my market structure, it's not really one-sided. So since it's not one-sided, I'm not looking to force any trade here because I want this to, so if this was to be my entry, I want it to fill right away and drop straight to my target. But because there's not really much of a directional bias here for a sell, it's probably not going to do that. What might happen here is price might break below and then slowly come down, maybe come back up, and then eventually come down and break. But it's not going to be one of those entries where it breaks and closes, retest, and dumps super far down from there. Right? We don't have that here right now. So again, if you want to take this here as a high-low break and retest, if this candle closes below this lower low, you put your limit order right here at 45,492. It didn't actually close below it. So see how there's not really much of a confirmation here. You'll see price kind of come down, test the area, and then come right back up. You're not seeing this where it drops really below it, retest, and drops further. Right? We've been getting a lot of this today. It comes to the level, test it, probably closes below it, probably doesn't, and then it just kind of sits there. That's like pretty much what happened over here, right? This whole time. Price came down, tested, finally broke, tested, and then now it's right down the middle here. Not the best place to be taking entries unless you're looking for sweeps. Let's see, Visual said, hey, Sean, if you turn off overnight session on TradingView and only have real trading hours selected, you can see the open price was below all of your pivots. Let's see. You're right. So if you look at the real trading hours, it is pretty much it's pretty much in bearish for the most part. Yeah, because what happened here is it only counted like from market open. So this here is good in a sense, but it's good if you're only looking at like the like say for example if you're trading stocks, right? This would be good if we were trading stocks because the market's technically closed between like Asia session and whatnot. But because you're trading futures, that's why I like using the electronic hours because I want to use all the data here. Since market was open, you can kind of see what price action was happening pre-market and Asia session. I'd rather have more data than less. But yeah, no, if you're just following just New York session for today and you just had at regular trading hours, which is between 6:30 and I guess 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock, yeah, it'd obviously be bearish because price has been bearish pretty much for the most part all day today. Yeah, because if we were to, so let's see, if we just mark up 6:30, yeah, this thing has obviously been in a bearish bias right now. So price pushed up, and then since then it's been coming all the way down since. So we are in a bearish bias, or not really bearish bias, we're in a bearish trend right now with regard to the lower time frames. So it lines up with it. But overall, I think it's still pretty mixed. All right, so we do have a imbalance right here. Price pretty much tested this imbalance. It's a small imbalance, not a big one. Actually, this was a good imbalance here for retest. So there was an imbalance right here, guys. Price came below, retested the imbalance and came right back down lower. There's another imbalance here. It's not a very big one. Yeah, there's a little imbalance right here. So we have an imbalance right here. Price pretty much retested it. The imbalance was between this red candle and this red candle right here. It was a small little gap. Price broke below, retested, came back lower. There's another imbalance right here between this green candle and this green one right here. Price pretty much broke below, retested it, and it's coming down lower. I'm just marking up structure here so we can kind of make sense of this consolidation. And if we can confirm that it's kind of shifted to a bearish trend. But right now, we just don't have really a strong confirmation yet. Again, price still hasn't broken below this lower low. This lower low has been invalidated. We have a new lower low, which is right here now. Let's see, visual said if you go back and do a back test, it happens almost every day. Price above the pivots, bullish and below continues bearish momentum. Okay, that's good to know. So I'll probably go and take a look at that. I'll probably test it because if that's the case, then maybe that'll help with our bias, right, visual? So yeah, thanks for the heads up with that. If that's the case, then maybe I'll be looking for some sells and whatnot. Uh, let's see if this here actually finally played through. Okay, so the 40 points finally hit over here for this one, guys. It took a long time for it to hit, but it did finally hit here for this move. We had the break and close below this lower low. Price retested immediately after. Kind of went back and forth for quite some time, but eventually did hit the 40 points right there. Not exactly the type of entry I want to be holding on to because you'd be holding on to this for, let's see, this trade ran for about 10 minutes, so not super, super long, but longer than I like. That was a high-low break and retest right here at this lower low. Yeah, so let's go and take a look real quick. Let's just see what visual is mentioning. So regular trading hours right here. Let's go to Friday. Yeah, so Friday over here, price was above the pivots and it held above it. Solid. Thursday over here. See, price was below. Didn't actually hold below, but like right here, yeah, I did kind of go back and forth. Wednesday over here, price was above it and it shot below. Yes, last week was a bit of a choppy week though, so I mean it's going to be hard to see what you were looking at for last week visual, but I'm sure the weeks before that is pretty smooth. So third Tuesday over here is actually good. Price was above, held above it. Monday over here, yeah, I mean all of last week was kind of mixed, so it was kind of hard to follow through here. I'll take a look at that maybe later on when I have some free time. But yeah, thanks for the heads up on that visual. It's good to know. I'm always up to having more biases and confluences to have some sort of directional bias. And if that helps, then obviously I'll take that into consideration. So, all right, guys, we got price pushing right back up. Looks like we might have a shift back to the upside. So it looks like price came down, established a floor, and it might be shifting right back up higher. But we'll see. I'm gonna go and clean this up a little bit. All right, so price has pretty much retested this twice now. Two retests of the imbalance here. This is an imbalance from this red candle to this one. It's an imbalance into consolidation down here. Right. Let's see. Rashida said NQ is leading, so I'm hoping YM follows higher. Exactly what I want. Yeah, so let's see. Let's check out NQ real quick. Yeah, so it looks like NQ is leading index right now. It's kind of pulling to the upside. So if that's the case, YM may follow in that direction. Let's check ES real quick. ES is in like a super chop right here. It hasn't really been going anywhere. See, ES and YM typically mirror, but right now ES and YM are not mirroring at all. ES is actually pushing up and going sideways, while YM here is pushing down and going sideways. They're all kind of going different directions. So YM here is pushing down and going sideways, while NQ is going up. These they don't typically correlate, but we're just looking at the indexes here to kind of see which indexes are holding and which ones are not. The NQ over here is pushing up, and then now it's still pushing up higher, and ES over here is just going sideways. So none of the indexes here are really following. They're not really following suit. They're kind of just going back and forth in their own respective directions, right? YM's been dropping, NQ's been going up, ES has been going sideways. The thing here that I think would be most concerning is that ES typically it usually mirrors YM, right? And it's not mirroring it today at all. So YM's been dropping for a bit, and ES has just been going up. So something to take into consideration. G's asking Sean, do you use SMAs or EMAs? No, I don't. I used to use them a long time ago. I mean, they're still good. I mean, the reasons why I use them for would be like for trend, but now that I have my pivots here, I don't really use them as much. The pivots here kind of they kind of replicate. They look like EMAs or SMAs, but they're not because they're so close. See how they just follow price? So my pivots here, I use them for trend. That's what I used to use the SMAs and EMAs for back then. I would uh I would follow, basically the trend. Like basically I use like the 50 or the 200 SMA to identify overall trend and the shorter term trend. And then same with the EMAs, I would use those as crossovers, but I don't use them anymore. Yeah, I haven't used them since like since I first started trading. G's asking if those moving averages are those moving averages apart from your. So they factor into some extent. I mean, moving averages are they go into almost every indicator depending on like what you're using it for. Um, because like my pivots here, they're based off an average. They're not a moving average, but they're based off an average. So for me here, my pivots, they what they do is they get anchored to price, right? So like price volatility, price movement, etc. They get anchored to it. So like that's why you see here the pivots follow really closely to it. Like if I was to add an SMA here, right? So I'll just show you real quick. Moving average, it'll follow, but it's not going to be that close. Where's the basic one? Okay, there we go. So see right here, if you were to add an SMA, this is like 9. If you go to like 200, see how the SMA kind of it trails it, but it's like super far off. My pivots over here, these are based off like different criteria. It obviously takes the average, but not necessarily like not just the average. That's why this here is more reactive compared to the SMA. The SMA is kind of slow, doesn't really follow as much. My pivots over here are more so they're based off price movement, volume, volatility, etc. There's like the algorithm that I use for this here follows price to a certain T. It's not necessarily like lagging as it's not lagging as slow as a regular moving average. So, but they're still good. I mean, if you don't have my tools, I mean, the moving averages could still be of use. They just won't be as accurate as my pivots here because my pivots do move with price. They're reactive to price. Um, and they just help with a lot of things, right? Like that's why they're called the pivots because we look for specific pivot movements off them. And then I also use them for trend. Since I trade on the 1 minute, it's really important that I have the trend identified on a quicker scale versus the moving average takes a long time for it to confirm. All right. Let's see. Rashida said the best buy entry level for YM is the 650 level. Yeah, I mean that's what I was looking for right here too, Rashida. I was looking for price to break above here, right? 650 lines up with yours. So I was looking for price to push up here and hold above that area, but we're just not getting that today. Which again, this is another data in like the playbook to like understand when to sit out of the market. I mean, this is a pretty clear market where it's like it's not a good time to take any trades in either direction. Whether you're chasing this here for a sell, you can get stopped out when price fakes out and pulls right back up. Vice versa, when price pushes up, it's easy to get stopped out here for a buy, right? Swing right back down. So yeah, this is a good day to sit on your hands, guys. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. I can answer whatever you guys need help with, whether it's trading related or not. There's just nothing here for me to take at the moment. So this is a good time for questions. I typically hold mentoring sessions on Monday, but I haven't been holding them lately. Obvious reasons. I'm right now still studying for Series 3. Hopefully I'll be done with that test pretty soon. I'm almost done with it. It's just my test date's on the 15th, I think. Yeah. So right now it's kind of just grinding out practice questions. But yeah, we'll be taking the series 3 on the 15th. Hopefully I pass it on that first try. And then once I pass that, then I'll be sending over my disclosures and information to the NFA, get my fingerprints done, etc. And then the hedge fund can reopen to the public by then. So we'll get that ball rolling. Hopefully everything's opened up by the end of September. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys have been asking. The hedge fund is not open to the public right now. It's closed off because I gotta finish up the regulatory issues that I have. But it should be done by the end of the month. And then hopefully by then I can reopen it to the public. Thanks, Lila. Yeah, it's I've been doing pretty good, so it's really just like I just kind of want to get the test over with. I wish it was an earlier date, but that was the earliest I can get for my test date. All right, guys, nothing going on here. You can see price is still going sideways. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overall bias and overall trend once again. So the overall bias with regard to market structure here is currently mixed. The 1 minute's bullish, 5 minutes bearish, strong bearish actually. The 15 minutes neutral, 30 minutes neutral, 1 hour is bullish, and the 4 hour is bullish. So with that being said, we have more of a bullish neutral market structure here with regard to all of these time frames. Looking over here at the overall trend. The 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, and the 30 minute are more on the bearish side. So mainly the lower time frames here. The 1, 5, and 15 are all bearish right here. Prices below the pivots. The trend meter is red. Pivots are angling to the downside. Looking over here on the 30 minute, you can see prices in between. It's currently neutral right now. So with this being the case, there's not really much here to look at. With regard to the 30, it's more on the neutral side. The 1 hour and the 4 hour is still bullish. So lower time frames bearish, higher time frame is bullish. Market structure here mixed. So there's not really much here to take right now, guys. For me to take an entry, I need to be absolutely sure of the direction. And right now we're just having a choppy move back and forth. Price has been stuck within this chop for about 30 minutes now. 30 minutes sideways. Darren's asking, will you continue to trade live once your public hedge fund is up and running? Yes, Darren, I'll still be trading live. I've been trading live since the hedge fund was running last year, right? Um, it's nothing's going to change. Once the hedge fund is back open to the public, I'll still be trading. Uh, the only thing is that the trades I'll be taking for the hedge fund will be the ones that I take personally. So whatever trades I take here that I say I'm going to take, those are the ones I'm taking for the hedge fund. So like these are the trades that I took so far for the month so far. If you guys are new here, these are my stats for August. I'm pretty much I haven't taken any trades this week, so you can see here it's 0 for the week so far, flat. Last week I was up 39,000 for the month. I'm up 163,765. These are all trades taken during the live session. I've only taken a few for this month so far. I've been very consistent with my discipline. And here's my overview. So these are my profits for August, and then these are my profits for the year so far. This is year to date. So basically from January 2nd up until today, which is August 25th, I'm currently up 745,995 gross, 647,296 net. My win ratio is at 68.7%, 68.07%. and my profit factor is about 1.6. I trade a 1 to 2. Before I was trading a 1 to 1, now I'm doing a 1 to 2. So my profit factor is probably going to increase as we progress. But yeah, these are my stats for the trading month and for the trading year so far. It's been pretty nice for the past couple of months. Like July was pretty nice, made 168,000, only two losses for that month. And then for August, yeah, I've just been very considerate of the market structure. Market structure here hasn't been really been very directional, so I've been kind of sitting out most days. Like for example, today, right? Today the orb came up, but I skipped the orb because it was price action here wasn't good and it wasn't moving in the direction of my overall bias. So key things like that, like little filters, like having an overall bias, looking at the overall trend, looking at market structure, that will help a lot with identifying good and bad entries. And that's a key thing, right? If you can identify good entries from the bad, it'll help you increase your win probability and your win rate will stay high and you'll be able to avoid a lot of unnecessary losses. That's a key thing here. So if I had a couple losses here, my profitability wouldn't be so high, but because I've been able to just sit on my hands and not take any trades, I've been able to have a pretty nice and smooth month so far. So that's uh that's kind of my goal for you guys, right? My goal is really to not necessarily teach you how to trade. It's really just teaching you how to trade properly. Um, Because like I said before, there's a ton of strategies out there. You don't have to trade my strategy. Like you can trade your own strategy, but really once you understand how to apply proper risk management, like avoiding bad trades and just knowing when to sit out of the market, it's really going to make the biggest difference for you. Because if you can just have wins stack up and have as many minimal losses as possible, it's just going to pan out to profitability for you at the end of each month. And then hopefully in total at the end of the year. So see. Let's see. Ark is asking, so week look at trades for the week, not per day. This way we don't force trades. If we got live prop firm accounts that can be used in hedge fund. Um, I mean, yeah, so you should be looking at your trades from like a weekly, if not monthly perspective, Ark. I mean, that's the main reason why a lot of people don't do well at trading. Using you, for example, like you had some pretty good periods where you did pretty well, and you had some pretty good periods where you did really bad, right? If you can balance that out where you're mainly looking for good stuff and not really looking for everything, um, you'll have more consistency because these are my stats for August, all wins for the month so far. And then my stats for July had majority of wins, only two losses. And then June, a little more balance here is like midsummer. And then May, of course, it started to pick up because this is when the tariff news came out. And then went from May, I made, 14,000, June 50,000, July 168,000, and then now for August 163. So it went in an upwards trend because I was able to identify bad entries, right? Instead of just taking every entry, I kind of just sat back and I avoided the bad entries. And then I capitalized on the good entries. So I was able to lock in profits while still avoiding bad trades. But no, prop accounts don't, I can't trade any prop accounts in the hedge fund, only live accounts. So if you want to participate in the hedge fund, guys, the minimum starting account would be 10,000. You'd have to have 10,000 of real cash, not a prop account. I have good relationships with the prop firms right now, so I'm not going to trade someone's prop account and then, put my accounts at risk. So that's why I'm not trading any of those. And that's just not how hedge funds work as well. Hedge funds traditionally you need cash to invest in a hedge fund. So for the most part, you'd have to have a cash account. Because I'm like my hedge fund is going to be regulated. We're all under, that's why I'm taking the test for the Series 3 because everything is under the NFA regulation. So we can't be trading demo accounts or any of that stuff because I have to report this to like all my profits and everything that we do and all the fees and all that stuff. It gets reported to the NFA. So like, I mean, it sucks. It's like extra work for me, but that's what I have to do to run a legitimate hedge fund. This isn't one of those bootleg ones where like, someone just kind of trades for you, like, and then there's no accountability there. For me, all of my trades and everything are being documented and being sent in. to the regulators. It sucks. I mean, it sucks because I don't like the oversight, but it is what it is. I gotta do everything the proper way. Let's see. Lila said, if you don't have 10K, use your tax return to fund the hedge account. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, at some point in the future, I may be able to help you guys get funding, like actual cash funding, like business funding. But at this point, I just want to work with people who actually have, the excess cash to actually invest in the fund. Yeah, because you shouldn't be investing like your last dollar in the fund, guys. Just keep them, or just in general with trading. Like, you shouldn't be gambling away like your last dollar. A lot of this stuff with trading, this stuff should be like your excess funds, right? Your extra money, because you should be okay with losing it. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. That's just how trading is, right? When the thing with trading is like it's a funny game because when you don't worry about the trade, your trades usually tend to play out and they work out pretty well. But when you're too worried about the money, that's usually where you FOMO and you start to make bad decisions. I've talked to so many people about this. It's like it's crazy because if you're trading your last dollar and you wanna, you're on your last, like say you're on your last $100 and you buy a prop account, the odds of you passing that prop account are very unlikely. You're probably gonna blow that account. But if you have like an extra like $100 laying around and you don't really care about it and you buy a prop account and you just trade it like whatever, you're probably going to do a lot better with that. It's just the psychology of things, which sucks. I mean, that's just kind of how it is, but it just sucks that like when you're pressed for cash, you start to make bad decisions, right? You want to force trade, you want to pass that eval right away. But when you don't care about the money, like for me, I don't care about the money. I care about the wins, right? So if you look at my stats here, I care about winning. You can see my profits here aren't always the same because a lot of times my stop loss gets moved in profit. But you can see like when I don't care about my profit and I just care about the winning days, it adds up to some pretty good profit. I think that's kind of what's been helping me a lot lately because I'm not feeling the need to force these trades here, right? My bias isn't aligned. My trend isn't aligned. My daily outlook isn't aligned. So like for me today's a toss up for me. I'm not really forced to take any trades here because I don't really care about the monetary value of these trades. I care about winning the trades. Um, and right now the market's just not giving us that. It's not giving us opportunity for winning trades here. We're really just kind of going back and forth, back and forth. So all right, let's see. If there's any other questions, guys, feel free to put them in the chat. 7:49 right now, so it's getting closer to 8 o'clock. Like I said, I'm not really looking to take anything here right now. So if you guys do have any questions, feel free to hop in the chat. I can answer whatever you need help with. Um, but right now, there's just nothing to take. So we got 10 minutes till 8 o'clock. I'll sit around and answer any questions if you guys do have anything. But if there's nothing there, then we'll probably wrap this up in a bit. All right. Darren is asking what's your long-term goal, like 5 year, 10 year, kind of out of curiosity. Um, like goal with trading or like with the hedge fund? Because so right now it's a managed futures hedge fund, which it's a little different compared to like a regular hedge fund. So right now, what the way that it works is if you sign up to this hedge fund that I'm currently running, which is the managed futures hedge fund, you would give me your login details. I would add you to my copier, and as you can see from my profits here, your account will be like one of these accounts on the list, right? You're just copying my trades. That's like what I'm doing right now because that's like the first step to doing a futures hedge fund. The next step, which is probably going to happen by next year, and I'm going to try to get this ball moving pretty quickly, is I go from here. I'll put this here. So this is like retail trader, and then oops. So retail trader, then CTA. This is basically what I'm going to be right now. Like once I take the test next month or whatever, I'll be a CTA, which is a commodity trading advisor. Uh, Running managed futures hedge fund. And then the next step is going to be CPO, which is it's going to happen like within a year's time. CPO is going to be a commodity pool operator. Um, so yeah, these are like, like right now, like you're basically a retail trader, right? So these are like the progressions that you typically go through as as a futures trader. Um, so yeah, this is basically so like, if you're a retail trader, you're just a non-professional trader. Once I take that test next week and everything, and I have everything, my disclosures presented and all my information, then I'll be registered as a CTA, which is a commodity trading advisor, and I'll be running a managed futures hedge fund. At this point, I would be considered a professional trader, so I have to enable my professional trader status. And then from there, I'll be moving down to CPO, which is so for this right here, I don't touch any of your money. If you're in this hedge fund, I don't touch your money. You just copy my trades and then you pay me a percentage of the profits, whatever we agree to. The commodity pool operator is a traditional hedge fund. This is where you send funds to the hedge fund manager and they put it into one big account, and then I just trade one big account. So, I mean, the next step is going to be really this. There's only so many steps with trading, right? You're either a retail trader or you're a professional trader, and you go between CTA or CPO. So I'll be a CTA by like next month, and then by hopefully the month after, I'll be a CPO. So that's like the timeline for, I guess, trading in general. Um, yeah, I mean, the other goal is really to just be hands off, but for the most part, I like trading, so I'm probably gonna be hands on for the most part with managing the firm and actually executing the trades. I mean, maybe in the future I'll hire a team to do the trading for me, but for the most part, I like doing the trading myself because I like being in control. So yeah, these are going to be probably the next. Like right now, if you want to sign up to the hedge fund, you'd sign up to the CTA, and then probably by next year. It's just this requires more stuff. Like you have to do a lot more things. Like I'll have to send out so many disclosures, so many monthly statements, and it's a lot of work. So there's just it just depends on how much work I want to do, honestly. And I'm kind of lazy, so for the most part, I might just stick with CTA for a little bit and then later on. Because once I'm a CPO, I have to send in everything, like all my broker statements. I got to send in all the broker statements for my clients. I got to send monthly like there's so many things that you have to do when you're a CPO that I mean, unless you're managing a lot of money, then it's going to be worth it. But for the most part, it's kind of like it's a lot of extra work. The CTA is kind of nice because I just add you guys to my copier, right? And then you guys you send in profits at the end of each month, and we split profits, and we just continue that way. There's pros and cons to both of it. Like the copier, of course, is going to be the cons of the copier is that there's going to be slippage, right, per trade. There's always going to be somewhat of a slippage issue there. Not always going to be a slippage issue, but there's going to be an issue of slippage with the actual big fund. I'll be trading one account, so the cons with that is going to be execution, right? Because not all contracts are going to get filled. But the good thing is I'll be trading on just one account. Yeah, thanks, Darren. So all right, we got nothing here right now, guys. We're getting closer to 8 o'clock again. If you guys have any questions, I'll look at your questions right now. By 8 o'clock is my cutoff for trading. So I mean, I'm not really looking to take anything here right now, but my cutoff is officially at 8 o'clock. Um, I just saw your message. Ark said, yeah, it's less stressful to look at it by the week and the month versus daily. I understand. I just have to stay focused and don't miss any of your trades, and I'll stay focused. Yeah, definitely, Ark. The key thing is really just staying focused and only taking, the quality entries. I know before you did pretty good, you were taking a lot of entries, and then once the good, like it's only good until it's not, right? And I know you took a couple of the other entries before, like the quick scalps, and they were good for a while, but then the market went sideways, and you know how that goes. It's only good for as long as it can stay good, and then once it starts to fall apart, it really falls apart really quickly. Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks, Darren. Let me see if there's anything else here for me to look at. I don't really see anything else here. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to hop into the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon. It's getting really close to 8 o'clock, and I just don't see anything here to take. CJ mentioned the pivot bounces are really hitting today. Didn't take any because of the choppiness, though. Yeah, so if you were to look for the entries here, market flow V2s would probably be your best option. I'm surprised you didn't get into those, CJ. Those are like your favorites. There's a market flow V2 which came up right here. So price came down, came back up. The fill would have been right here at the 20 market flow V2. And then price came down again, market flow V2, etc. Let's see. Roger is asking on your orb trades, what is your take profit and stop loss and ticks? So if you're talking about YM ticks and points are the same thing, not compared to NQ. So NQ is different. Ticks are worth more than points, or points are worth more than ticks. Um, I think it's like, I mean, the number is different. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's double around there. But for YM, I'm trading with a 20-point stop loss and 40-point CP. So again, points and ticks are the same for YM. So, 20 ticks and 20 points equal the same amount. But yeah, for my orb, if I'm taking the orb, it's going to be a 20-point stop loss or 20 tick stop loss. And my profit target is 40. So it's a 1 to 2. 20-point stop, 40-point TP. And that's pretty much how it is for all my trades. Even with my regular scalps here, for my high-low break and retest, same thing. 20-point stop loss, 40 points target. The only other thing, the other caveat that I use is I use a trailing stop. So when price reaches 30 points, my trailing stop moves up by 10. So when it reaches 30 there, my stop loss gets moved up. I guarantee 10 points, but then I still aim for the full 40 just in case price decides to turn on me. So that's the one other thing that I have in play. G's asking how many monitors do you have set up? I've got 3 monitors and 1 laptop. So I have 1 laptop right here on my left. That's where I take all my entries for all my trades. My main screen right here in the middle is where my trading view is. This is where I do all my analysis. And then I have 2 other screens over here, which they're mainly screeners. So I have a screener which identifies overall direction. I have a screener that identifies certain strategies that are currently active and pushing that direction. And then I have another screener down below which covers basically the same thing. It's like it identifies reversal zones, specific strategies, trend strength, volatility, squeeze, volume sentiment, stuff like that. So I have one screen with just my scanners. I have this main screen right here, which is just my chart where I identify price action. And then I have a third screen over here where I identify market structure. That's how I was able to identify like the support resistance without actually having to draw stuff up. Like for example, right here, I have another screen on my right, which has my market structure on higher time frames. And there's a resistance, which is right here. Like, see, I can draw that resistance without actually looking over here because I have another screen where it has all the market structure marked up. And then I choose which market structure I want to have from there. So it helps. All right, guys, it's 8 o'clock. I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Unfortunately, today was just one of those days where there just wasn't too much for us to work with, so there wasn't anything for me to take here, which is a good thing, right? I'd rather have a flat day than have a losing day. So today's flat. Here are my stats for the week so far. Nothing for this week because I haven't taken anything. For the month so far, this is how much I'm currently up. And then for the year so far, this is how much I am currently up for the year. So that's about it. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live session. So, all right, guys, have